Hello, and good evening. If you're here the night this was published, then you're here on the evening of October 28th, 2022, and you know what that means. Hello, grab a drink and a spooky snack, and let me tell you the tale of the White Rabbit. On the 16th of September, something odd happened during a commercial break on Friday Night SmackDown. Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit a cappella plays out over a confused and quiet audience, ending with an ominous red glow as blares out. A few people chant Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, released from WWE under Vince McMahon after a decade of being misused despite his obvious creative genius. But Vince is gone, a new regime is in charge in real life, and those few fans chanting Wyatt, those loyal few, know what it will take the rest of us weeks to determine for sure. White Rabbit continues to play even at house shows during breaks. QR codes begin to appear in backstage segments, some leading to games or simple messages. Who killed the world? You did. The word patricide, with map coordinates to the Edmonton Arena where Raw was to be broadcast from the next week, showed up during Dominic Mysterio's segment, who had recently betrayed his own father in a storyline. These codes were tied up in other people's ongoing stories. Some codes led to TikToks by the user Come With Me, showing many wrestlers from WWE and ECW saying, "Who killed the world? You did. Feed your head." In the video caption are the numbers 44.244.273.7.769.737, which when typed into Google lead to a giant pink rabbit in Preda Novoso, Italy. Now, this is all typical let's get the audience to do some digging and build interest, and there's more examples. Videos of the Big Bad Wolf, references to Azazel Reborn, even file names TS_S10E6 in some of these images, referring to the Simpsons 6th episode of the 10th season titled Doe in the Wind. That episode features White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane. There's more. A fan showing a sign saying, "Revel in what you are," gets us closer to the truth, as that was what Bray Wyatt posted in a rare tweet a few years ago, replying to artist Rob Schamberger's depiction of him. But then it gets weirder when Redditor Gentleman's Bastard pointed to a Twitter post from Bray Wyatt back in July saying, "Anyone on here know anything about Self, Arkansas? If you are local and can navigate to the Devil's Hole, please let me know." So Gentleman's Bastard did research on Self, Arkansas, and it isn't even a town, it's an unincorporated community, which means it doesn't belong to a specific place and it's not its own town. When he looked up the Devil's Hole in Self, Arkansas, it led him to a forums post from 2004 on undergroundozarks.com. In that thread, it says a bunch of crazy stuff about the Devil's Hole in Boone County in Self, Arkansas, and in red text under the title where it says moderator, their name is White Rabbit. And finally, a QR code on the microphone of Triple H, the new real-life leader of the WWE, with it leading to a video of the Three Little Pigs and a voiceover that repeated, "Let me in." And it included sounds of knocking on a door, allusions to Wyatt's earlier work from the new man in charge in WWE. And at Extreme Rules, he finally came back to a deafening roar. The QR codes in the lead-up to Bray Wyatt's return were interacted with by more than 1 million users. Uniques versus total is unspecified. But this, by any metric, was a success. The ratings for SmackDown that week and in the weeks to come were way up. It's a little goofy and silly, but it's a sign that the new regime post Vince McMahon wants to get weird with wrestling in a good way. It wants to play with the audience, not play with the audience. And while I generally make AEW a priority in my attention if forced to choose, WWE is building a great argument that the future is not as dark as we thought it would be. It's much, much darker. In a good way. So I just finished the first season of Gravity Falls for the first time, and I have some thoughts. 3, in fact. Firstly, it's odd that the only reason I finally caved and started watching this show was listening to Alex Hirsch argue against Disney's censorship in this video that went viral earlier this year. But when there's a strong writing hand at the helm of a show, I find myself being drawn towards it in a way that feels special. And if I had to compare the show to another, of all things, it would be Community. The writing is a character in both these shows, not a wasted joke, not a spare bit of breathy dialogue, not perfect either, but especially in Gravity Falls' case, not a single scene feels wasted. It's amazing. Secondly, good lord, look at this show. I know if you, viewer, grew up on Gravity Falls or have been more quick to take the advice of your friends than I have, this is nothing new. But the aesthetic of the Mystery Shack, the warm and vibrant color palettes, the score, the opening's fluid animation, it all creates a feeling of knowing this town and the shack on the edges of it. And thirdly, I care about these characters. They're characters with sincere reactions. The most out there character is Zeus, but even he is given a moment or two of sincere development in his first season. I am just about to start season 2, and I know I'm late on this show, but I'm excited for what's to come in a way I haven't been for a while. So I guess Gravity Falls is my personal show of the fall. But I mentioned Community earlier, and I'm gonna do something you shouldn't do on the internet. I'm gonna praise Rick and Morty for a second. The last decade of Rick and Morty has been weird to say the least, but season 6 feels like the show is finally finding its footing after seasons 2 and 3's lofty heights. The first episode of season 6 covers this greatly. Solar Ricks, it's a reset, but not a hard reset. The past matters, but it doesn't feel like seasons 4 through 5 where continuity was a burden. The characters, namely Rick, are actually growing, developing. Jerry is winning right now in Rick and Morty, and that's insanity and should break the show, but in reality, it's allowing the world and its characters to grow that finally has me feeling Rick and Morty is back. And it's nice that something I liked for so long but felt a bit lost by in the last few years has come around to, at least for me, being must-see TV again. And speaking of must-see, I have only 60 seconds, so spooky or good videos on YouTube time. Internet Historian is amazing, but this story isn't. It's remarkable, mind, what Floyd Collins went through. If you don't know his ultimate fate, I encourage you to dive into this video blind. By the end, you will feel a gross pit of fear, of disappointment, of gnawing anger at the past, but also an odd sense of catharsis that it's all been laid to rest. Tolkien is not a scary man unless he was alive today to see what Amazon is doing, and then he may be a trifle miffed, but these old interviews going back in time to hear the father of modern fantasy explain his thought processes, it's hauntingly captivating. Brian David Gilbert is one of my favorite YouTubers. Here's him as a glam rock vampire singing Stayin' Alive as the BDGs he BBGs. The internet remains worthwhile. Deep Rock Galactic is a horror game. Deep Rock Galactic is a horror game. Deep Rock Galactic is a horror game. Half-Life 1 is terrifying. You got the face crabs, head crabs. I still don't know much about Half-Life. I'm on Half-Life 2 right now, but man, Half-Life 1 is good, everyone. Did you know that? I mean, I could talk about New Game 1 or New Game 2, but to be honest, so little has come out recently of note for me that I didn't change the placeholders New Game 1 and New Game 2 bits in the script. So, Half-Life.
So wake up, Mr. Freeman. Wake up and smell the ashes.
But of course, Skyrim can still be terrifying, especially when Skyrim updates and look at all these mods that mean I can't open my save games for risk of corrupting them. Why do I do this to myself? But I've started playing Deltarune. I completed Undertale some months ago for the first time, and I had a bit of trouble with restarting games before I played Undertale. I didn't really want them to end, I just wanted to enjoy them, but Undertale broke that cycle for me. And spoilers, but to finally end the game on Pacifist just felt so right. And that story could have ended there, and maybe in a way, it should. I didn't want to play Deltarune until it was done. Undertale meant so much to me that I spent almost a year at a snail's pace crawling through it, and even then I felt like I didn't savor it as much as I could have. So why start Deltarune when it's in demo? But then I realized what Undertale really taught me. Life's too short for second guesses, for not fixing things, for waiting for the right experience. What's done is done, but to leave something undone, waiting for the perfect moment, a moment that may never come around. I mean, this is just a silly video about things I liked this Halloween, but damn it, I'm not waiting for the perfect moment anymore, because it's right now. Hey folks, thanks for watching. I am really excited for my favorite things from the autumn. That'll come out in a few weeks, I hope. A lot is changing for me right now, but in a good way. I hope this video finds you well. Happy Halloween. I'll see you in November.